Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Sifu. I play on the PS5, it's also available on the PS4 and PC. So let's start with the story. You play as the son or daughter of your Sifu, your kung fu master, who is murdered by one of his former pupils pretty much immediately in the game. And it also acts as a bit of a tutorial, which is kind of neat. But you are then not exactly tasked, you go on a quest of revenge. You have to track down this guy's team of people, his gang, whatever you want to call it, and, work your way up the ladder. This is definitely one of those games where I will say right away, the story isn't the driving force. Now let's get into the audio, and the first thing I'm going to say is I really like the music in this game. I just think the music accentuates the game itself very well. As for the voiceover work, there isn't a ton of it. Well, I mean, there is a lot of little lines, but it's not, again, the most heavily story-driven game, so you're not hearing huge volumes of dialogue. Especially since once you've watched a cutscene, and you have to watch it many times over, because this is a, rinse and repeat kind of game, you start skipping the cutscenes. But I do think the voiceover work that is in there is done well enough. I don't think it's necessarily Shakespearean or given the opportunity to be Shakespearean, or I really should just say really high quality. As for the rest of the sound effects, I really like the rest of the sound effects. I think they work well and they fit with the game and they fit with the vibe of the game, this kung fu journey that you're on. Now let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is a third-person kung fu roguelite. So yes, you will live, die, repeat, live, die, repeat. But it's got some interesting ways of doing its thing. I think the fighting system is simple enough, but there is enough complexity to it to add a lot to the game. It is also one of the hardest fucking games I have played in a while. It is very much based on the tough but fair principle, and I will say the only thing I felt was unfair is that enemies having unblockable attacks, whereas every attack you have is very fucking interruptible. And if you're wondering, no, I was not able to beat this game, I was not able to complete this story in the time given because, like I said, this is a very hard game. But what I do like is you can basically revive in a level. You can die multiple times in a level and come back exactly where you were. But when you do, it will change moves that you can access, upgrades that you can access. It will actually lower your health but increase your strength. And that's basically how you kind of progress. And it's an interesting way of doing it because everything is based on age as for when you need to reset. And you can reset to basically the beginning. Like, when I first completed the first zone, I was age 29 the first time. So I went on to the next zone at the age of 29. Which I should say, you do reach an age where your character just straight up dies and you can't revive. But I decided to go back and replay the first zone, and when I finished it that time, I was age 22. So I was going into the next area with things that I had learned, things that you can permanently learn, skills, and I was younger going into the next one, which gives me more opportunity to progress further. To upgrade yourself in ways that don't stay with you permanently, you can sacrifice XP, score, or even use your age to your advantage. That doesn't actually cost you years though. But you can also use your XP in order to permanently unlock moves, which will help you progress. So I thought that was a cool way of doing things. And the age system is also interesting in that, okay, you die once at the age of 20. You then become 21 when you revive. But then if you die again, now you have 2 deaths, so you'll gain 2 years, and so on down the line, and that's how it works. There are enemies you can beat to reduce your death counter, but they basically assume you are going to die. This is based on the concept that you are going to die. I really enjoyed playing this game. This is one of those games where it is all about the gameplay, and it is fun and addictive, and at times incredibly frustrating. There were times where I had to walk away from this because it was getting so frustrating. Now let's get into the controls, and I don't have any complaints with the controls. I think the controls work very well. I like them, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And then lastly, the graphics and visuals. And graphically, this is not the most impressive thing I have ever seen, but it's not trying to be. It's trying to have its own unique art style. It's not trying to be hyper-realistic, as you can tell by any screenshot you've seen. And I think that's cool. I really like the art style. I like what it brings to the world that they have built. I like what they do with the characters. I like what they do with the main character, the main enemies, all the different enemies you run into throughout out. I like the animations for the martial arts. I like what they have built, and I like the world that they have built. I think the art style really just works with this game, and it has its own unique vibe, and I'm happy with how it looks, to put it very simply. I really enjoyed it. So to wrap this up, I was actually really excited for this game, and I wasn't 100% sure what I was getting into, but I really enjoyed what was there. As I've already said, I really enjoyed going through the loop. I really enjoyed just playing over, getting better, and working my way through it, kind of like a good Soulsborne game, but this is definitely a roguelite. So yeah, I recommend this game to PS4, PS5, PC owners. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me what's your favorite Bruce Lee movie? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's unanimously Enter the Dragon, right? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one. But they basically assume you are going to die. Oh my god.